Room 33, the thriller story that I am telling you. Watch and listen carefully. Let's start without wasting your time. Joel collapsed onto the unfamiliar bed, his mind spinning. Sleep didn't come easily this time. Every noise from the hallway made him jump. He kept glancing at the door, half expecting someone to burst in and drag him away, but the night remained quiet, save for the distant hum of city traffic. Eventually, his eyelids grew heavy, and he slipped into a restless slumber. When Joel woke up, the sunlight was different, warmer, and tinged with the scent of salt. He sat up abruptly, heart racing. This wasn't New York. The bed was smaller, and the room was drenched in sunlight from a large bay window overlooking an ocean. Joel stumbled to the window and looked out. He saw a beach lined with palm trees and tourists lounging under umbrellas. A sprawling city spread out in the distance, recognizable by its colorful rooftops and cobblestone streets. He was in Lisbon, Portugal. Joel stumbled back, his breath hitching in his throat.
There was no logic explanation for any of this.
He had never been to Europe, didn't even have a passport on him. He spun around, searching the room for answers, but all he found was the same tarnished key with room 33 engraved on it. His hands shook as he clutched the key, realizing that whatever was happening wasn't just a dream.
It was real, and it was happening to him.
Joel wandered Lisbon in a daze, his mind a blur of fear and confusion. He couldn't understand how he kept waking up in different places, each one more foreign than the last. He tried to retrace his steps, to remember if he had met anyone or done something unusual before this nightmare began, but nothing added up. Every person he spoke to seemed just as real as he was, and no one had any answers. That night, Joel once again found himself pulled back to room 33, unable to resist its eerie allure. The key fit the door perfectly, and when he stepped inside, the room was back to the drab and remarkable space he'd first seen at the Sunset Motel. He hesitated for a moment, wondering if he should try to stay awake, but the exhaustion was too much. He lay down and closed his eyes, knowing he had no control over what would happen next. When he woke again, Joel found himself in a cabin deep in the woods, surrounded by towering trees and a thick fog that clung to the ground. The room was rustic, with a stone fireplace and animal heads mounted on the walls. Joel's panic flared. This place was even more remote than the others. He opened the door, expecting to see the familiar motel parking lot, but the door led straight into the forest. No roads, no buildings, just endless trees and the sound of distant crows. Joel shouted into the void, his voice swallowed by the dense air. He was trapped in a pattern he couldn't break, each new place more unsettling than the last. He tried staying awake, fought against the pull of sleep, but his body would betray him each time. Every morning, he woke in a new, unfamiliar place, always with the key to room 33 beside him, and always without any sign of the life he once knew. Days turned into weeks, and Joel began to lose track of time. He woke up in an ancient castle in Romania, a cramped hostel in Tokyo, a luxurious penthouse in Dubai. He met strangers who spoke in languages he didn't understand, ate foods he'd never tasted, and saw sights that felt like distant dreams. But no matter where he went, the one constant was room 33, always waiting for him at the end of the day, pulling him back into its dark embrace. One morning, Joel awoke in a room that was strangely familiar. It was the Sunset Motel, exactly as he remembered it. From the first night, the peeling wallpaper, the flickering TV, the heavy curtains drawn shut. For a moment, he thought it was over, that he was finally home, but then he noticed the calendar on the wall, the date marked in bold red letters. It was 5 years into the future. Joel's heart sank as he realized he had lost half a decade to room 33, traveling through places and times that didn't seem to follow any logic. He picked up the key from the nightstand, staring at the faded number. He knew then that room 33 was more than just a room. It was a doorway, a trap, something that existed outside the boundaries of normal reality. Determined to break the cycle, Joel decided he wouldn't return to room 33 that night. He checked out of the Sunset Motel and rented a car, driving as far as he could until the sun dipped below the horizon. He found a small town and checked into a different hotel, deliberately choosing a room with a different number. That night, he barricaded himself inside, refusing to let room 33 find him again. But as he drifted into a fitful sleep, he felt a familiar pull, as if invisible hands were dragging him back. When he woke, the room was unfamiliar once more, and the key to room 33 lay in the pillow beside him. No matter how far he ran or how desperately he tried to break free, Joel was always drawn back to the room that defied time and space. He understood now that he was a prisoner, caught in an endless cycle of waking up in places that were never truly his. And as he stared at the key, he knew that room 33 would never let him go. The world beyond that door was always changing, but the room remained constant as silent. Relentless reminder that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed.